Hello and welcome to the Watches and More channel, the channel for those who wear and enjoy watches. The topic of this video is the Neminus Master Diver Yellow Monster 2.0. This watch is on loan to me from Perry at Neminus, thanks so much Perry. This review is not sponsored and the opinions, thoughts and impressions are entirely my own. Overview. The Neminus Master Diver 2.0 is a very unique diver with some very interesting features. It is a bronze case dive watch with a 500-meter water resistance. It features a 12-sided unidirectional rotating bezel with ceramic insert and bluish BGW9 Swiss Super Lumi Nova lume on the numerals and markers. There is a raised lume pip at the 12 o'clock position. The crystal is 4 mm thick sapphire with 5 layers of anti-reflective coating. The case is a nice shape with a gently beveled top with a rather nice milled inset on the sides. The inner lugs are cut straight down and are a little on the sharp side. The screw-down crown is nicely knurled and features a signed end. The action on the crown when screwing or unscrewing is a little grainy, but does screw in very solidly. Once unscrewed and extended, the crown action is very solid with no play. The lugs are drilled for easy replacement of the watchband. The buckle is brass and is signed on the bottom and has a diver's knife on the top. The strap is made of Kevlar and has a yellow color matched padded underlay. The Kevlar upper section is black with yellow accent stitching all around. The strap keeper at the buckle end is black and the floating one is a yellow color. The hour and minute hands are brass colored with BGW9 Swiss Super Lumi Nova lume inserts. The second hand is all white with a red tip and a lume pip. The second hand balance features a trident. The raised applied markers are bronze colored at the perimeters with lume inserts. There is a small date window, with a bronze raised border at the 3 o'clock position with black numerals and a white background. The dial has a raised textured appearance with a color fade from bronze to yellow. There is a small raised Neminus logo at the top of the dial in white printed text at the bottom of the dial. The case at the time of this review has already started to patina. The stainless steel case back is screwed down with a nice octagonal shape. There is a rather nice embossed diver's helmet in the center. There is a helium escape valve on the side of the case at the 9 o'clock position. The movement is the hacking and handwinding Seiko NH35A automatic. Thoughts and impressions. As you may know, the focus of this channel is a little different than most. My aim is not to present to you a list of somewhat meaningless dimensions and specs, but to present my thoughts and impressions of the watches I review. First off, the most impressive feature of this rather hefty watch is the dial. It features a crackled stone or sand-like texture with a beautiful fade from bronze to yellow. It is one of the most impressive dials on a watch that I have had in my possession. Under various angles of light, the raised textured portions will reflect more or less light. The case is quite chunky, but has a nice shape to it. The top edges are nicely beveled and are nice and smooth. The underside edges are little on the sharp side. I rather like the shape of the rotating bezel, but I find it a little difficult to turn easily. It is very tight and solid in operation, with no play, but there is not too much grip. The lume on the bezel is another matter. The lume is quite bright and lasts a long time. It makes it quite easy to see the numerals and markers on the bezel. The lume on the dial is equally bright and readable. The lume is one of the strong points of this watch. It is very easy to read the dial, hands and bezel markings in low light conditions. There is, as I mentioned earlier, a raised logo at the top of the dial and some printed text at the bottom of the dial. The problem is that it is virtually impossible to read either the raised logo or the printed text. I generally do not like the bottom text to be too overwhelming on a watch dial, but in this case it is too small and does not have enough contrast to be readable. The date window fits nicely with the design of the dial and markers, and is quite readable. The bronze markers have decent contrast against the dial, but the hands can be a bit harder to see against the bronze and yellow dial. In certain lighting conditions it can be a little hard to read the time. The hour and minute hands are mounted at slightly different angles, so they reflect light differently, adding to the difficulty in reading the time easily. The minute track is printed on the dial, but the markers are a little too thin to be seen easily. I like the look and feel of the strap. It has a great design motif overall, and I am sure it will be quite durable over time. But in daily wear, it is quite stiff and hard in feel, so it makes it a little uncomfortable in practice. The watch tends to sit a little high off the wrist when I wear it, and the sides of the wrist tend to get squeezed more than the top and bottom by the strap. The domed sapphire crystal is quite nice on this watch, and it is quite clear given its overall thickness. There are still some reflections in the crystal under certain lighting conditions, but for the most part makes it quite easy to see the dial at various angles. Conclusion. I really like the design of this watch, This model is called the Yellow Monster, and I think the name is quite fitting. The dial is one of its standout features, but at the same time one of the things that may hold it back from being a true dive watch. It can be a little difficult to read in some circumstances. A dive watch should have a high contrast between the hands and the dial background, and be easy to operate. Although I like the bezel a great deal, it is a little hard to operate, even when it is dry. I suspect the strap may become more compliant over time, but in its current state it is rather stiff, which also makes it a little difficult to put it on or take it off. The yellow stitching on the top, the color-matched padding and the yellow keeper are quite stunning overall and lends well to the design. The color of the bronze is very attractive, but has a slightly dull appearance as compared to a stainless steel case. Over time the case will patina as the bronze reacts to its environment, giving it a truly unique finish over time. In conclusion, I would have to point out that this particular watch, while having many features of a true dive watch, for me it would fall more into the sport or casual watch category. The case size and weight are on the large side, so for myself it is a little too heavy to wear as a daily watch. The size is not really an issue for me, my Mudmaster is actually larger overall. It is more the weight distribution and the stiff strap holding it back for me. Of course your experience may be very different than mine, you would have to try one on for yourself. This concludes my review of the Neminus Master Diver Yellow Monster 2.0, I hope you enjoyed it and that it was informative. I invite you to hit the like and subscribe buttons, it is a tremendous help to the channel. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again real soon.